English Theory Question 1. Your friend in another town thinks that school life is boring and wants to leave school to start petty trading. Write a letter to him or her discussing two aspects of school life you find enjoyable and giving two reasons to encouraging him or her to remain in school. So this is basically a friendly or an informal letter. So you should know the features of an informal letter, which is the writer's address, the date, the recipient's introduction, body, and conclusion. Now we're going to have a look at what the marking scheme says and how students should be awarded their marks based on this particular question. This is English BEC 2024. Now, you know every essay has four parts, that is which is 30 marks. And so we have the mechanical accuracy, we have the content, we have the expression, and we have the organization. The mechanical accuracy gives you 5 marks, the content gives you 10 marks, the expression gives you 10 marks, and the organization gives you 5 marks, making a sum of 30. And so every good student should aim at getting at least half of the 30 marks, which is 15. Now remember, the content is 10 marks. So in order to gain some marks here, what you have to do as a candidate is to write all the 3 parts they are asking you with referral to the question. They are asking you to refer to the problem, discuss 2 aspects of school life that are enjoyable, and encourage your friend to stay in school. If you're able to do this, you should aim getting 7 out of 10, because apparently English, there's no way you're going to get 30 out of 30. Now the next step is the organization, which contains 5 marks. With this, what they are expecting from you as a candidate is to know that this is an informal letter, and for that matter, the features should be the address of the writer and the date, the salutation, the subscription, and then the first name of the writer. If you're able to do these things correctly, you should earn 5 marks as well. Now the expression should also give you 10 marks, in as much as you are looking forward to getting the 10 marks. If you should get 7 out of 10, it is not bad. And so this is a letter to a friend, therefore the language should be very chatty. You can use the contracted forms. When I say contracted forms, I'm talking about aren't, isn't, weren't, just to mention but a few. And also you can avoid the formal way of writing a letter, as to writing a letter to your head teacher or whatsoever. This is an informal letter, so it's a relationship between you as a candidate and your friend. So just like the marking scheme says, contracted forms and slangs are acceptable here but should be controlled. If you're able to express yourself very well, you should get at least half of the expression marks, which is 5. Now the last step is the mechanical accuracy, which also contains 5 marks. Mechanical accuracy always deals with spelling errors. What we've realized these days is that most students go in for shorthand form of writing with the use of the social media. If it is, for example, a word like you, we see most students represent it as U, the alphabet U, and these are some of the errors that is going to be deducted. Every error is minus half. So imagine if you make 10 errors, that means your 5 marks is gone. And so per the marking scheme, it's saying that rank all errors in concord: subject, verb, noun, pronoun, tense, determinants, prepositions, and punctuations whenever they occur. Ring the wrong spelling of the same word once. So if, let's say, this person spells the word you as in an alphabet, and I see the spelling error once, I circle it. If I should see it somewhere or in a different paragraph, I should just leave it, because the person has already made the same error in the first paragraph where I circled it. Subsequently, I should underline them. So in as much as I'm circling them, the circle indicates that I've deducted half mark from them. But then if I should see it subsequently in other paragraphs, what I do is I underline them, because I've already deducted half mark from that. American spelling is accepted, but there must be consistency. So you can use American and British. For example, if you are spelling color, COLOUR, it should be consistent. You can't spell color for your first paragraph COLOUR and then go and spell COLOR in a different paragraph. So if you're using the American, it should be American. If you're going straight forward with British, it should be British spelling. Each sentence and proper noun should begin with a capital letter. Bring the use of I instead of capital I for the first person pronoun. So these are basic things you should know when writing an essay. Now let's move on. Question 2 of the theory part reads: a teacher from your school won the first prize as the national best teacher. You were selected to represent your school at the ceremony. Write a report on what you saw and discuss two lessons you learned as you observed the event. So this is not an informal letter. This is not a formal letter. This is basically report writing. Just like the other question which contained 30 marks, just know that every theory question in English is subjected to 30 marks. So here the candidate is required to write a report on what he or she saw at the National Best Teacher Award ceremony and discuss two lessons he or she learned. The essay is in two parts. You describe what you saw and discuss two lessons you learned. The candidate must write on both parts effectively to earn a good marks of 6 or more. Mark the description out for 4 marks and the discussion of each lesson learned out of 3 marks. Now, with the organization part, this is a report writing, and so the candidate should know the features of report writing. The moment the candidate starts with the writer's address or the recipient's address, this clearly shows that the candidate doesn't know what he or she is doing. So the features of writing a report is as follows: the title, the introduction, the body, the conclusion, the subscription, the writer's signature, the writer's full name, and the date. So the paragraph should be well developed and effectively linked to the essay. Now the expression also carries 10 marks, just like the same question we had in question 1, how you express yourself very well. Here it is not an informal letter, so you avoid colloquialism, you avoid slangs, you avoid being chatty and friendly, and move straight to the point since it's an official document you're going to put down. The mechanical accuracy also deals with your spelling errors, and avoid the use of small letters or punctuations where necessary. So let's move on to question 3 of the English theory. Question 3 reads: it is an election year and the major political parties have started campaigning for a loving member of your community. Write an article for publication in a local newspaper in the community discussing two ways of maintaining peace during this period or during the period. Now, first take note as a candidate that there are differences between letter to the press and then an article for publication. And so if the candidate is able to identify the differences, then the candidate is good to go. Here the content is also 10 marks, the mechanical accuracy is 5 marks, the expression is 10 marks, and the organization is also 5 marks. So with question 4, which deals with the reading aspect, it's very important as a teacher or a student watching this to advise your students, or even if you're a candidate watching this preparing for your BEC examination, advise yourself on this. So take note that these are the penalties given out to students who go wrong on these rules. So the first thing is that they deduct half a mark for any grammatical error. So any grammatical error you make is minus half. The second one is where a candidate gives two answers. Sometimes, especially with find another word for the following, find another word or the meaning for the following, we find out that most students will give 2 or more words. And then unfortunately for them, one of these words they've given might be correct. When this happens, according to the marking scheme, we award 0. However, if the student is fortunate or lucky and both answers are correct, you award the full marks. And so it is advisable to go with your instincts. If you know that the answer you're going for is correct, just go for that. Do not go for 2 or more answers. Else, if these answers are wrong, you'll be marked 0. Now, where words or expressions are expected to be given to replace words or expressions in the passage, they must fit in perfectly. Otherwise, we award 0. So, for example, find another word for the find another word which has the same meaning for, let's say, delicate. Delicate means special. Or another word which has the word ending in a present tense like ing. So if the word is ending with ing, the other word you're looking for should also end in ing in the present. It shouldn't end in the past. If you do this, you are going to be awarded 0 marks. Answers need not be written in sentences unless otherwise stipulated. And so same on the other words. Sometimes they say find another phrase. If it's a phrase, that's fine. If it's not a phrase and it's a word, please go with the word. Do not explain yourself in sentences, else you'll be awarded 0. An answer taken as a whole must make sense before any part of it is accepted for scoring. So an answer you give should make sense before you can score you. Sometimes it might not be the same as the one on the marking scheme, but then if it makes sense in relation to the passage given, you'll be awarded marks. I highly advise that you get one of the BEC questions and then you compare with the rules they've given above. So the question 4C says award 0 if any content or main word in expression being tested is repeated. Also award 0 if a candidate uses fixed expressions, example idioms, phrasal verbs, etc. Then question 4G deals with summary. We know how most students struggle when it comes to summary. So according to the marking scheme, you award half the allocated mark if the answer is not written in the complete sentence. Also, apt lifting within the stipulated number of words is allowed. You deduct half a mark if an answer exceeds the required number of words. You also deduct half a mark for any grammatical expression error in a correct answer. You also deduct half a mark for any extraneous material in a correct answer. That is for the summary part. So here are the answers for the rest of the questions. At this juncture, I'll leave you to go through them for your perusal. Please feel free to leave your questions or comments via the comment section, and I'll gladly respond to each and every one of you. Thank you and enjoy.